In 2018, there was a short that came out that you were involved with called Hide, directed by Jason Koch, I believe. You play the character of Chris. In this one, like, I'll try and explain the story and you can tell me if I get this right or wrong from what I understood from it. It's alternative reality where basically discrimination is really high. If you're a different race, people kind of hate each other. If you have a disability, you're hated against. So it's about these two couples who are of a different race. So obviously a lot of people are hating around them. They don't want them to be one. The one guy we're following has a secret, which we find out later. But it's basically them trying to get through a world of unacceptance, I guess, and everyone's kind of very judgmental and stuff. I guess that's the idea I get from there. By the end, then, they walk all the way to a desert, God knows how many hundreds of miles away, have a little Barney. The woman tries to go and neck hold him, don't even do it. Pathetic. Don't even get him properly. And then they have a Barney and she decides to walk back. You've walked all the way to the fucking desert and now you decide to maybe, I don't know if I should keep going. You've just walked about 100 fucking, maybe 400 miles. What? Oh dear, here we fucking go. And then he slaps her back. Oh. Look at this. If she beats you to death, mate, pathetic, that's what I'm gonna say. Is she choking him out? You're letting her choke you out, mate? No, you'll never live it down, bro. You can't let this happen. You'd never live it down. She's not even got the lock on properly.
Pathetic.
No, and she's just gonna walk away. Oh well, I just walked 200 miles into a desert to have a little Barney with you, and I'm walking away. Am I missing something? Is there something I'm missing on
that sums it up about, yeah. That sums it up.
It's like, but that's kind of roughly the idea, is, I'm guessing, is it? Because I might have watched it wrong, but I was getting the impression it was kind of about discrimination was the message in this one, really, like.
I mean, it's one of those, like, you know, it's like, what does the viewer, I mean, you got racism, you got discrimination, you got, you know, disability, you know, and it's just one of those things where, like, you know, you have to wonder, like, the authenticity of certain things. You know, is it being done organically or is it done manufactured? You know, is this being manufactured or is this an actual story that somebody wants to tell? And because like I'm going off of like your review and how you know how you reacted to it. So it's like it's just one of those things where it's like, you know, sometimes, you know, if so it's just one of those things where it's like, you know, like you cannot manufacture certain things like this, where the presentation of it's a little like, oh really? So it's just one of those things, you know, and like my experience on that movie was just so like back and forth, which is that this was one of the first things I did in LA, and now this is the timeline of things like through like before Infers, I was working on Assassinaut. I was working on Assassinaut for a long time, where I was going back and forth for reshoots and everything, and it's just one of those things where like when I was in LA, I was still going to do reshoots. So Jason Koch, the director of Pigpen, he was in LA now, and he wanted me to do Hyde, and he wanted me to play the other part in the movie. Passenger in the car.
Oh, Vito! All right, here we go.
Fucking disgusting.
Disgusting?
We'll be back.
Ah, he's playing a scumbag. All right, then. All right.
You know, and which there wasn't really a difference between the roles so much. It's more like who's driving, who's not driving at that point. So, and I said I couldn't do it because when he gave me the date, I was actually going to go fly back and do more reshoots for Assassinaut.
Assassinaut, right? Okay, right, yeah.
And I remember that was a little bit of contention there, and I was like, it was like weird. I was like having like breakfast with him, and it was a little contention. And I was like, "What? This is a project I'm doing beforehand. I can't do your thing because I have to go do their thing."
Yeah, you already.
I'm in that movie. I have to go back for reshoots.
Well, duh.
Yeah.
I've been growing out the mustache. I was growing out the mustache again and everything. It was like, you know, I was like, it was just a weird. Like I remember just feeling weird about it. You know.
Yeah.
And then when I did the actual shooting, it was like a lot of like driving in the car and like doing stuff involving the camera in the car, and feeling a little uncomfortable because like I'm not like the best driver in the world, and I was being
Yeah.
asked to do all this stuff, and I was like, I remember we got stopped by the police too. Because we were just in
Oh,
our
did
car,
you?
and there was like, yeah, we had a little like, in running with the police, and I remember like it was a borrowed car, so we were like, wait, we don't know what's in this car, man. Wait, hold on, it's like, I remember we had like a little fear,
Just
like, wait, man, we
imagine,
don't know
like...
there might be something in this car, So it's like it's one of those things. I remember like filming it, being like a little, I remember like doing like, and then going back to filming, it's like, getting out the car and running, I was like, I have to go over like, you get a lot of respect for stunt actors, when they got like, when you got like, you got like wheel a car, stop, go, get out and run. It's like, I mean, that's not an easy thing. I mean, it's one thing like because you have to manifest, motivation and and gumption to do stuff like that, and not like accidentally like pull the car forward. There's a whole lot of elements to when you're like dealing with mechanics in a car.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, of course, mate, yeah.
and we weren't doing like wheelies or anything, but still like it's still a car, So it's like
Yeah.
it was one of those things where I was like, it's probably the most I acted with a car outside of like college stuff, And I was like,
Right, I see, like, yeah.
and using it for a pursuit. So it was one of those things where like like. And the funny thing is, nobody asked me if my license was valid, which
No one asked. I was
discovered.
literally about to ask that. Like, surely they just do the
No,
basic
my
checks,
license was
right?
my license had expired while I was in LA, and it just didn't occur to me.
Are you sure about
I
that?
like looked at my
Oh
ID. I was like,
shit!
oh, my thing is expired.
Fucking
I was like,
hell.
I would have been in so much trouble if I was actually like you know.
Oh shit!
It's just one of those. I was just like, whoa.
Mate, like you said, like if the police were to have checked that in particular, you look up, everyone on set scraping like rats, and you're just there on your own, like, oh shit. Oh well, guess I'm taking this one.
And I remember us having to like us do the chasing, and then and then me getting like rammed into the wall, and they were doing slow mo.
Oh shit! Ah, there's Vito. He's like, get fucked. Then what? Did he just push into Vito? Get fucked? Nah, fuck right off. Just not be. I'm not happy about that. Vito just got knocked to the ground, like.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
And
Yeah.
we did that a few times. Where like me like kind of going into the wall. And
I need to ask
the
about
funny
that,
thing-
like, then, man. I do need to ask because, like, I make a comment in it. It's like I was getting the impression that Jason, the director, was just giving you a rough idea, saying, "Oh, you kind of chase after him," because I make that comment about, "Oh, you meant to bump into him." Like, I get the impression if I was on set, it'd be like, "What am I supposed to do for this scene?" I don't just do something like, "Oh, am I running and catching up with the guy? Am I tackling him? Is he hitting me? What's happening?" Just go for it. That's how it felt, like, kind of thing. Like, were you given the exact direction, or was it kind of a, yeah, roughly do this and see what happens? Like, how was the direction given to you with that scene in particular?
just chase them. It was very bare bone. It wasn't anything.
Yeah, I got that impression. Like, yeah.
I mean, because it was there in the script at the end that that they were discriminating. So, but it wasn't any like in-depth conversation like in like me and James. We just kind of did our thing. We were like, okay, we're just assholes chasing after these people. It was very bare boned.
Yeah.
So
I got the impression you guys didn't have much to work with. Like, you know what I mean? You were kind of expected to just do the scene without giving that much information. That's how it felt like.
I don't remember a lot of direction. Now that I think of it, no, not a whole lot of character direction. But then I remember like doing that take, and the funny thing is, I remembered later that I was like, wait, I had a kidney stone.
What did you? No way.
Yeah, I had a
Oh,
kidney stone. So I
shit.
remember I was like I had a kidney stone, and I remember ramming myself up against that wall. Took care of that. Maybe the 3 times that we did it. So it was like, bam! I was like, oh, I feel better. So all that running before we did that, I was dealing with a kidney stone.
That's crazy, bro. That is like,
Yeah.
fair play.
That is like the rough way. That's actually a thing. that you can take care of a kidney stone by by physically doing something to it.
Smacking yourself into walls and shit, like, yeah.
Yeah. So I remember that. I
The
remember
VITO
that he was like,
technique, if it
"Dude,
works, it works.
if you I remember he's like, you should pay me for that. I took care of it, and I was like, I was the one ramming myself into the wall. You didn't ram me into the wall, so I mean, you just were filming, right? I think I'd done that at home. All right, I didn't need to come out here.
So we've worked out you're a surgeon and a doctor now. Jeez, so this is enough one fag to the next.
Apparently.
You become a doctor, like, yeah. Fair play.
Apparently,
just smash
yeah.
yourself up and it'll go away.
But I will say that's probably the positive that came out of Hyde. For me, the positive for the Hyde was me taking care of that kidney stone and not having to, do the other, or go have to go to a doctor, So it was like, oh, that worked out.
Well,
So
blessing in disguise, my friend. Blessing in disguise, isn't
blessing in disguise. Blessing in disguise. But
it? So
that's Hyde.
then when I was going to say, when was it then? So when it finally came out, we have spoken about this one quite a few, but it actually came out in 2019, although we've been working on it for a while. Assassinaut, directed by Drew as well. Big up Drew, also directed Science Team. Got to give shout out to him. How long in total did it take you to actually filming this to come out? Because you were filming this before quite a few other films, weren't you?
Oh, like 4 years.
4 years, yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
4 years. There was a whole lot of. It wasn't the initial shooting. Like I said, like the initial shooting we filmed in a summer. It was like a month and a half of actual filming. Assassinaut took us all over the state of Virginia, from Richmond to battleships to Norwalk to a camp where they filmed Dirty Dancing, waterfalls, beaches, moon rocks, caves, farmhouses, everything in between. So I mean, that was Assassinaut. I went. I filmed in West Virginia. I filmed in Georgia. I filmed.
Wow.
I filmed all over the place for Assassinaut. So, and when I think about Assassinaut, it's like we went everywhere, and like I said, it took a while. And now auditioning for Assassinaut was weird. Not weird. I won't say weird. It was just strange because they waited a while to ask me.
Oh, right, okay. What
It's like well, I think just Drew didn't want to rely on the same actors. I think, or I think it's like I don't know. You don't want that thing, even though that's like the trend now. It's like I like these actors. I want them in everything that I do. Small role, big role, I don't care. I want these actors. Because because working relationships is important. So and they asked me to audition for the Commander. And and I remember auditioning for the Commander, and it was just I remember auditioning for a while. It was like I don't know if it was an hour plus of me just doing the scene for for Drew, Michelle, and Tommy Bell, the other producer from Science Team. And I just remember I did everything under the sun. I was doing Shakespeare. I like to start diving. I was doing accents. I was doing everything. At a certain point, I felt like I was like, I should be charging you guys because I'm just putting on a show now. This went from an audition to just me putting on a show. So I was
a private show for them, mate. That was the excuse. Get for you, he's got the role already, but let's get a private shot of him while we can,
Yeah. So, and then I got the part, and then it was like creating the character. It started from the mustache. The mustache is the character for me. That
Yeah.
all I have to do is look in the mirror, and I was like, that mustache does so much work that I don't have to do. So it's all about the mustache. The mustache was key,
It's facts. It's facts.
I think I may have had was watching Roadhouse, and there's Sam Elliott, with that, I think he had a beard in that one, but still the mustache is very prominent.
Yeah.
Hey, mijo. Hey. You know what I mean? So I think I was trying to to touch Sam Elliott in some form, fashion,
Okay, I see.
Yeah, and I just remember doing a lot of work up until shooting. I was still creating the character because I got down there early, where I was
Okay.
like rehearsing with the kids. Not all the kids. It was like Shannon and Jasmine. I was rehearsing with them and kind of developing, an on-screen relationship because they were the ones that I had the most like interaction with.
Yeah.
So I was like
yeah.
creating a relationship with Shannon. We were rehearsing and figuring stuff out. And like I said, I was still building the character up. Like it was like from the suit, and then like even like his knee brace. The knee brace was just like something that was in the basement of the headquarters of Drew and Michelle. It was just like in a bunch of random stuff, and it's not actually a knee brace. It's actually what's used to like climb up telephone poles.
What? That's mad.
Yeah, because it has a little spike at the end of it.
I was going to say, they got
used to, like,
spikes
climb
on
up-
them, haven't they? Shit, like, yeah.
Yeah, it had a spike at the end of it. So I mean, I had to watch where I was stepping with that thing. So put that on as to kind of just like have like a history to the character. Where I was like, he got his leg injured at some point. You just don't know when.
Yeah.
It was just one of those things like to ask questions about the character.
Yeah.
Because at that point in time, the commander was just the command. It was just everything after you first meet the commander. There was no prologue at the beginning. At that point, there was no prologue. There was no his family. There was no killing the president. There was no family being destroyed in a blast. None of that was in the story yet. So there was a lot of stuff that I was that I was using as character background for myself. It's just sometimes a script, though, won't tell you there are clues. Like, why does he want to be with kids? It's like, why does he want, like, all this kind of stuff. It was like, why is he, like, so, like, doesn't want to connect with these kids? And there was clues in the script, through my actor mind. You just try to put things together, like, to make sense.
Right, okay. That's interesting, actually. Like, yeah. Because, like, in a
Yeah.
film, like, your character, the one thing that, like, I sort of make a comment of is, like, at first he's very, like, strict with the kids and stuff like that, but then your character becomes, like, he needs to, like, be the sort of look after them, like, be the guardian, because when, it all goes wrong, he basically puts himself in a situation where he's like, right, I'm the only adult here, I need to do the right thing as well. So it's really cool how you've done that with the character. He's very standoffish, but then he does become caring before something else happens, which we'll talk about a bit later and stuff, like, yeah.
Well, yeah, because it's like the character is trying to, like, avoid the responsibility because he's, like, he's already failed once. He doesn't want to fail again.
Yeah.
So, and I just love that how like little curveballs will like determine like scenes a little bit, like the beach scene with the kids. Now that if you watch the scene, he's very relaxed.
Yeah.
He's very like like buttoned down. He's not wearing his cap. He's not wearing his sunglasses. He's very relaxed. I mean, he's not even wearing his brace. He's just there, kind of like like.
Yeah, they found Vito. Yeah. He's like, oh, for fuck's sake, I was enjoying myself here on a vacation. You fucked too.
Congratulations. You're not dead yet. And I'll drink to that.
You'll drink to anything, Vito, come on.
They should not have brought you here. I mean, there's beauty in the madness, but no children should have to bear witness to a world like this.
Yet again, Vito being the man of reason, yet again.
It's facts! It's facts!
Quit looking at me, damn it.
You're making him feel bad and he's going to give you food. He's got a heart of gold. Stop it. Yeah, look, you take advantage of Vito, for fuck's sake. How is his supply? And you were all eating like a scene ago, you bunch of fat bastards.
Now, that happened because the costume person forgot my knee brace.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I was
right,
like,
okay.
so, and we had to like do like I was like, well then I got to change the scene. Because it was going to be very different. It's going to be very like there's just the commander there as he is with the glasses and the hat and everything.
Right, oh, okay.
And because of that, we had to do a lot of like some curveballs. So I started like, okay, I'm gonna change it around, and like and then like somebody like put like a bandage around my leg to show that maybe there's like some scarring there, like so then maybe like put a little makeup there and everything. And so there was a curveball being thrown that like changed the entire scene, because it was still gonna be like the commander as is, because of this like laid backness. It was like this whole like in my head, I was like, oh, I'm at the edge of the world. I'm gonna sit here and enjoy it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why when they come, like it's like you survived. Hallelujah.
Yeah,
drink
it's like,
to that,
it's like, yeah, what the, oh, okay, because I remember saying, like, you went from being super strict to like, hey, what's happening? Just having a little drink, like, what's happening? Like, yeah, it was like, fair play. It was just like, oh, well, this is it. It is what it is. Like, it's mad, like. That was awesome, like, fair play.
It just changed the entire flow of the scene because of like not having the knee brace. So, we had to accommodate that because you see that I have like my legs like kind of like stretched out, like giving it a rest from like me having to walk and everything. So it just changed the entire scene. And they're like, we're doing the scene, and I'm having all these great interactions with the kids, and then now remember I did Shakespeare for Drew in the audition.
Yeah.
And he was like, what if you do a little Shakespeare in the scene?
Oh, right.
So we did takes. He didn't even tell the cinematographer. Clooney did not know about it. He was just like, "You should do a Shakespeare tape." And I do it, and everyone was like, everyone was just like, "What's he doing?" Like literally, the kids on camera are being just like, "What is he doing?"
What's he up to?
He's just going into a soliloquy.
Into his thing, like, yeah.
And it was like, and that was like another thing where like I had this idea that his father would, quote Shakespeare at him, and everything. So it's like, I kind of justified that he was kind of like using like a quote from Shakespeare to get himself motivation.
Yeah.
Because right after that, that's why he's like, okay, let's go save the president.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
So, fair play. He's like completely. He's like, let's go. Like, you know what I mean? Becomes hero. Like, but then later on, unfortunate things sort of turn, shall we say? Because infection turned to a different character. So, because the president dropped nuclear bombs and her family died, she's the assassin basically because she got involved so she can get close to the president to try and kill her. Ah, look at him. Oh, faster, for fuck's sake. Ah!
Whoa, that was cool.
Hell, look at he's fucking melting now. Oh, it's gonna shoot him directly in the face. Ah, his head. I think his head exploded, so... Shit, I think that's VITO out of the film now, innit? Oh well, I may as well end this episode now. Thanks for joining. Was like one of the original ideas of this movie with your character towards the end, what he becomes... They call them blues, don't they, I believe? Like the sort of aliens are fighting in this, blues. Was the idea that your character was going to be fighting the blues a bit earlier on? Was that one of the original concepts?
Oh, no, that was like an afterthought. That was an afterthought.
Oh, it was an afterthought.
That maybe like there should have been more to put more action in the movie. Maybe we should have had the commander fighting blues on the ship. Because the commander goes on the ship and then he disappears up until like the beach scene.
Yeah, the beach scene. Yeah.
It was just an idea of like trying to like kind of put a little action into the movie.
I see. Yeah.
But it didn't materialize into actual like shooting stuff. It was just an idea. I was like. Because I was so active in science team that the idea that I don't do a whole lot of action in this one was a little like, oh.
Yeah. But it's different character, isn't it? You're not chipping this, you're a completely different character, isn't it? You know what I mean? So, although it could have been added in, this is a completely different vibe. I say completely different vibe.
Oh.
I believe like some of the makeup team who worked on science team, did they work on this one as well? Because I know quite a few people from science team also worked on this project, didn't they?
Yeah, William Wallace came back. William Wallace was he was helping out around the camera. A buddy of mine, Jonah Road, he was on science team. He was on this one too. I mean, a lot of people came back that helped out around this one. Jason Koch, he helped out on science team. He came on this one.
That's
he was helping out with with like the big monster that you see.
Yeah.
There
you go, 10 years later, and the fucking apocalypse has happened by the looks of it then. Also, I was saying earlier about, is the film glitched out because it took ages to come to the titles. Where's the colour gone? Did you run out of budget at this point, or something? Wow, look at this! This looks like something out of Power Rangers, isn't it? Come on. They're all gonna turn up now, aren't they?
Not for long, Power Ranger. You lose. I win. Pathetic.
Ah, right in the eyeball. Ah, that's son. I just clocked. It's gonna be a dream sequence. That's why it's black and white, isn't it?
Here's a crazy story. Now, this is the, like, you know, like the trials and tribulations of filmmaking. That I was helping Jason out with the monster suit one day, and we were filming it in this tunnel, this train tunnel.
Yeah.
And we're doing the shot. Now, I was just helping him, like, you know, kind of, because he had a hard time, like, seeing. So me and this other guy were, like, helping him on and off the tracks and everything. And he's on the tracks, and they're filming. And then you look down the tunnel, and all of a sudden you see two lights coming around the corner. It's like coming towards us. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. So, and we're trying to get him off the tracks. We're like, we gotta get off the tracks. What? He's in the suit, he doesn't know what's going on. You know. Yeah. We try to get him off, and then just his car just slowly just starts coming down. Like it wasn't going fast or anything. It wasn't like it was like the initial idea was a lot scarier than the actual, like, what, you know, like, because you think about it, if you're in that suit, it's a lot scarier. Like, there's a car coming. What?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you can't even see where you've been looking half the time. Yeah.
The car was like slowly coming, and it was just like, oh, you know, whoops. And it was supposed to be a deactivated tunnel, but every once in a while, these people like drive the area to like make sure. So like they were just like, conveniently, when we were filming there, we had permission to film there, but it was like conveniently when we filmed there, that these people were just like, what? We're just driving the grounds. So it was just like,
yeah, I see.
Oh, whoopsie.
Whoopsie fucking daisy.
So it was like a, you know, and that was like a big thing. I remember Jason was like so upset. He was just like, "Ugh!" And like Jason has a temper, you know, and it was one of those cases where, like, when someone has a temper, but then they have a good reason to be mad, bad combo. Pfft. You know? So it was one of those things where, like, it was like it was like one of those things where, like, someone's like being mad, but it's like, okay, it's like you're going on 5 minutes longer than you have to. Because I guess at that point, like, it's just they just start like just pointing at people, and like he pointed at me, he's like, "Vito, this is your fault," and I was like, he's like,
well, you hired the guys to come drive around. Like, how was that your fault?
It's your fault. And then I said this to him. I was like, yes, but take off the suit. I'll go do the shot. I'll go get in the tunnel.
Oh, fair.
He's like,
no.
And it was like, de-escalated a little bit, you know. And like I said, I wasn't filming that day. I was just helping out and like helping him with the suit because he needed help with the suit.
Yeah, that's
so,
yeah. You weren't even as you said, you weren't supposed to really be on set. You were doing that as a favor, really. There, you just there as a favor, really, weren't you?
That day, I was just helping him out. I was there and I was helping him out with the suit. And I like the mishap of the thing was, you know, it should have been like PAs on the other end of the tunnel, just kind of making sure. But it was like, to get to that track, we had to like trek through a forest to get there. So I'm pretty sure there was just one of those things where it was like, okay, it was like an afterthought because of having to go through the forest with all the equipment and everything and set up. It was just an afterthought. And it was just one of those like, oh my God, this is happening right now. Like,
what's
because,
the chances, in it? You'd never expect.
What's the chance? Like every other day of the week, they probably would not have gone there, but then they did when we were shooting, and there was, you know, so it's just like one of those like, oh my God, you know, and so this is like, well, you know, like PAs get crapped on, but PAs are very important for, like, you know, facilitating a situation, you know. I mean, they're not just there to go get you fucking coffee, all right? Because some people think that, like, no, they're there to hold down things so other things can get done. So that's why I've never, like, you always got to respect the PAs, and the people that don't respect the PAs can kiss my ass. So now in this case, it was just kind of like no way was put over there. So when you're juggling a lot of things, you know, it's just one of those things like, it happened. But I remember because of that incident, I went up to Sarah, who was the parent of the little child. You know.
Okay.
And I went up to her because I have to do physical stuff with later on in the movie, and I told her
Yeah.
that I would, just to reassure her, I was like, I will make sure, that your child's taken care of.
I'm not tipping you at all.
I just
it's
was
not
like,
drama.
they were around for it. They heard they heard the big blowout, and he was just like, they're like, I won't let anything happen to your kid. That was just the thing that I was,
Yeah. Well, you got to do in it just like setting with these and stuff as well, isn't it? Because when you work with child actors, obviously you got to be a lot more careful and stuff. Talking of them,
Yeah.
they all done a pretty decent job on you as well, didn't they? Like, you got to give them props. Like, fair play to them.
Oh yeah, and also like to segue to like that moment with the kid was that we did like a bunch of stuff. I mean, like like that was my well, at this point in the story, the commander has been infected with with an alien parasite and becomes the Terminator slash
Yeah.
Jason to the story.
Which
And he just starts hunting
can we
kids.
mention? I made a massive mess up on my episode when what did I compare you to on that? I keep forgetting, but
The
I messed it
Terminator.
up. I guess I compare you to the Terminator, but you were emulating Jason, so like my bad. Duh.
We're gonna have to kill him.
What? He's basically the Terminator now, isn't he? Like,
Even though somebody that reviewed it, they said he looks like the Terminator. I was like, it's Jason. I was trying to do Jason. Damn it.
Come on,
If someone
man.
compared me to Jason, I would have been like, yes, it worked. We say, oh, he's the Terminator now. And I'm like, no, I was
So
Jason,
you had to be wearing you had to
man.
wear a hockey mask. so
Yes,
they
you
knew
need the mask,
that it was
and
Jason.
then you could totally do
Without
it.
the mask, you could be Terminator.
Oh,
Well, I had
fuck.
I had aviator glasses on for a bit, so I had aviator glasses on and a hat. So,
Didn't mention their glasses. You probably look like Terminator.
Yeah.
well, I had the Jason theme in my head because like I can just turn off my afterbrain and just become a killing machine, like literally just become a killing machine. So like,
Yeah.
I mean, they're not wrong in that. I was wearing glasses, I was kind of like, like I dropped the limp, because he's no longer the commander now. He's like,
Yeah.
this alien
he's
is taking over his
infected now,
body.
isn't he? Like, yeah.
Yeah, so and I remember just doing that. So I remember like having to like the way that I like grab his head. I remember to just grab my hands and we just go like this,
Yeah.
and it's very like Jason, like like in Jason Lives, like gonna go like squeeze people's heads like he does in that one. That's what I had in my head. It's
That
like,
all makes sense.
dude,
Like when you say that now, it's like that's a clear Jason kill me, 100%. Like, you know what I mean?
even the way that the child like just hits my is hitting me. It's like boop 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 boop. It was like Jason takes Manhattan.
Yeah. With the
Yeah,
boxing guy, yeah.
Yeah, it was like it was a lot of Jason in the commander performance when he gets taken over. So
Yeah. That's
And,
amazing. Saying that though, the makeup was a really good job. Like the thing is though, they don't show that much of it. It's like a scene when you're in a tunnel and you mutate and it gets worse and worse. I wish they showed more of it because it's such a good job. The makeup they done on you on it.
well, there was like I think creative differences there where like it wasn't exactly what I think Drew wanted. So
Oh, right.
I think he had it there so it can be like a little bit like there in the shot but not like focused on in the shot because like
Okay.
if you look at the movie, there are so many different variations of what happens to my face as it goes on. So
Yeah.
there's no real like definitive until you actually see him in the cave. The little child part where I take the child and I throw them over
Yeah,
the
waterfall
waterfall
on the cliff.
Now
Yeah.
that was a trial and tribulation thing.
Here we go. I mean, he killed one kid off, so at this stage, he might as well just kill them all off now, maybe. We're gonna chuck him off the. You chucked the kid off a waterfall who's macking me all over again.
Okay,
Right,
check us out.
okay.
So we're doing this waterfall shot, and we have to. I have this dummy. It's like actually like it's not actually a dummy. It's actually like made with like wires and other stuff, and has some guts in it, and it
right,
has like
okay.
stones to give it weight, so it can actually like fly down, but more. And
Okay.
I had to like carry it and like hold it above, like hold it and throw it. And I remember like having to like just like hold this thing at the edge of the waterfall. But then there's the other thing where like okay, Safety wise, we had a safety person on set who was also part of the grip crew, who was kind of like not being gripped today. He was just going to focus on safety. And
Okay.
apparently we didn't get a harness that was requested.
What?
That's what I was told.
Okay.
So they got this fancy rope to tie around my inner thighs, like around my bits. It would just kind of go
Right,
down
okay.
my back. You know, it would just come up my pants and everything. So like, if you see, it's just like this rope, and I'm like tied to a tree. So I have some slag, and the safety guy, he was wearing a nice orange harness. He was tied up. The camera crew, the camera crew, they had nice harnesses on.
Fully nice then.
Now the AD, Mr. Monty, my hero, he did not have a harness on, but he was very concerned about my safety because they were getting the shot. Because after a certain while, they were getting the shot, and then at a certain angle, you know, of me, like, you know, from like maybe my back, and then they went to try to get it from, you know, the other side of the waterfall, like looking on,
Right, yeah.
and
yeah.
it became like this, you know, like, can Vito get closer to the edge? Can Vito get closer to the edge?
What?
No.
Vito get closer to the edge, and like, and there's Michael Monti losing his mind. He's just like,
I'm not surprised.
they're like, you get a little close to the edge. Cool. He's like, and so they're like, and then at certain points, I'm also still holding this damn dummy too. You know, certain shots, I'm holding this dummy.
Yeah.
And I remember Michael Monti holding it for a second. I guess, oh, this thing's kind of heavy after a while. It's one of those things where like, it's like isometric tension. It's not it's like maybe like 10 to 15 pounds, but if you're there holding it for a bit, it gets heavy.
Of course, mate. Yeah, of course it does. Keep it like a, yeah, of course.
It's
100%.
isometric tension. Where it's like take a 5-pound weight and hold it out
Just hold
stretched. You get a burn. You get a nice little
Oh, of course
workout. You know, like the Punisher. You know, it was like
Yeah.
a hell of a workout. You know, like, you know, when he's holding the grenade. You know. But so like I have to hold this freaking. So after a while, it's just like I remember Drew was like, "It's not that heavy." I'm like, "This. Why don't you hold it for a few minutes, waiting for you to get the shot? All right? Don't be saying things until you actually done it." I'm like, "Give me that." It was like, but I just remember like Michael Monti just like losing his mind because at one point he was like, he's like, "You just get the shot, man." He's at the edge. He's as far as he needs to go. He just did not
Literally
want me to
living
go
on
any
the edge,
closer.
mate.
Michael
Living
Monti.
on the edge, like. Oh.
Now the funny thing is that I had this silly moment where I was like this. I made my peace with God. I was like, if I die today, I die. I was
If
like,
he
Zach will
dies, he
take care of my
dies.
cats. If I die, Zach will take care of my cats. I will die here, looking at this wonderful landscape ahead of me. I will die. And as I'm saying this, 3 little kids run up and they're at the edge of the waterfall. 3 little kids, just like random kids, are just hanging out at the park.
What?
Come up to the edge of the waterfall. And I'm there like,
God damn it.
I was like, don't I feel silly right now? I feel so silly because these 3 little kids just walk up to the edge of the waterfall
No
like,
fear, just like, alright.
I think one just sat down at the edge, was like, hey, hey. And I was there like, you know, with, you know, with my balls tied off. And everything. You know, I'm like, son of a bitch. Don't I feel silly now?
Oh, Christ. Oh, mate. Something else we should mention on this, man. Probably the most important thing that actually happened on this. This is the set you met Kelly on. Is that correct? Was it Assassinaut where you actually originally met Kelly?
Well, it's one of those, what's the word? Now Kelly was doing additional editing for Pigpen.
Pigpen, yeah.
Yeah, and she had a script that she was trying to get off the ground. And she was editing Pigpen, and she liked my performance in Pigpen. Wow. And Jason gave her my contact information. and she sent me an email with the script and everything, and was like, "Hey, I'd like you to play the part." And now, now, if you rewind back, the Assassinaut is the circus tour. We're going to all these different places. Like we're camping up, we're moving here, we're moving there, and so I didn't have time to actually like hunker down and read the script, and I got all these unanswered messages of emails, and she was about to like recast my ass because I was not getting back to her. And she was about to recast my ass, and so I see this email and like I call her up because we're back in Virginia, we're back in the headquarters, and I am like in the basement, like, "Hey, I'm sorry, I haven't, I was like, I want to do your project," and I was just like, and we just start, and I hear her voice, and her voice was just so pleasing to me. I don't know what it was. It was the first time I actually spoke to her on the phone. And I just liked hearing, and we were just talking and talking. And it was one of those where like, I misstepped at the end of it where I was like, "Wait, how old are you?" And, she told me her age. And she was a little older, so I was like, yay. Because like it was one of those things like, okay, cool. And so it was just one of those things where I was like, I don't know what it was. I just like, I wanted to talk to her again, so... That was a little spark there at Assassinaut. So one of the positives I could take from the from the experience was that it would meet my future wife. So
yeah, that's beautiful, man. I'm glad you mentioned that story. Like to anyone who's watching, like who's Kelly, Vito's wife, man. Like, and that's how they met. That's beautiful, bro. Like as you said. With some of these projects, you say you get good and highs and lows, but sometimes when something's not good, the high is so good it just cancels out any sort of negative about it, doesn't it? The fact you met sort of Kelly, anything like you might not have liked about it doesn't matter, does it? Because you got such a positive out of that, bro. That's beautiful. Like,
well, I mean the overall is like Assassinaut was the good outweighs the bad on Assassinaut. Whatever I mean.
Yeah.
Oh, because there was so many like moments where, with the crew, with the people that I made the movie with, where we were just just in between, driving here to there,
having jams in the car and stuff like
having jams in the car,
How can you have your pudding if you haven't had your meat?
Just hanging out and just being around each other. Well, because it's like because we were traveling around a lot. It was like we were a company of players, just kind of going from place to place and doing it and leaving. So, and like working with the kids. The kids were like the kids were the best part. Because they was brought so much like genuine passion to every day that it was just like how can I not bring it? These kids.
Yeah.
But I remember like having to do like additional photography with Shannon, where we had to do a.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, no, because like I said, I came back a few times for additional photography after initial filming, and I remember us like now this was like we did a take when we did we came back and I did stuff where I had the mask on, where I had the mask that doesn't get used at all. There was a mask that was in there initially that we didn't use at all. That we were using again and applying different stuff to it. And I remember Shannon shoots me. This is after the cave scene where she says where I survived, or even apparently I survived the cave. I don't, it was like one of those at this point I survived the cave, and she points the gun at me and unloads. And I remember we were filming this in Georgia. I believe we were in Georgia.
Okay.
Possibly Georgia. And I remember and putting squibs on me.
Oh.
I didn't have an undershirt. No one had an undershirt for me. I didn't know I had to bring an undershirt. So they put it to my skin. And I remember doing the shot. And afterwards, the guy was taking him off, and he was like, "Oh man, it burned your chest hairs off."
Oh shit! No.
Yeah, we were filming it in Georgia during the winter, so it was cold.
Shit.
But it was so cold that I didn't realize that it burned my hairs off my chest.
Oh shit!
So,
Right.
yeah, Scrib is still a little explosion. So like, I remember like doing the shot that's not in the movie at all now. You know.
Ah, yeah, because you say that's on there. But yeah, it's interesting. She said there was like sort of different ideas with Assassinaut, but when it came out, and it actually got screenings. This is one of them films you were involved in. It actually got quite a few screenings around the place. It was.
Oh yeah.
Well, anyway, for like Canada, America, they had quite a lot of screenings for Assassinaut, didn't they? Like, yeah.
Yeah. Actually, to go back to the additional photography, the cave sequence where I'm actually in the movie and like the cave, I'm like
Yeah.
I have all like the guts on me. That was additional photography I came back later for again, where they recreated the cave. That was actually in the basement of the original headquarters. We did it in this this place in Georgia. They recreated the cave, and I was like all done up again, and I had to do all this like and screaming and blood and guts and everything. We did later again, so that it was like there was like all this additional photography that was going on. Like me getting shot was additional photography. That cave sequence there was additional photography that we just did, and that makes it into the movie. Thank God.
Yeah. Yeah. Thankfully, yeah.
So I said it was just like that's why it took like the post production and coming back and filming. That's why it took a little bit longer. Was like figuring things out, and then during that post production is when we filmed the intro of us killing the president and everything, and and the kid and the inclusion of the commander's family. So all that stuff was put in later.
Right. Oh,
after, yeah.
Wow,
Well, it came from my discussions with Drew about the commander, So we kind of put that in the prologue. So.
Right. Yeah. Well, it makes more sense to do it that way then. It actually builds your character a bit more beforehand and like gives you justifies his actions more. You're like, oh, I can see what he's doing a lot more until the infection. Then, like, you know what I mean? But yeah. Oh, okay. That's cool.
Yeah. So I mean that's what like going like why did it take so long? Because it was like a long post, going back for additional photography, hammering out beats of the story, So.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I remember I just always felt bad that the kids. I was afraid the kids were gonna go through college and everything and like not see the movie or like become so like have like, all these projects in between and be like, oh, that movie I did, but we had a big premiere in Virginia, Richmond, Virginia, and all the kids came out. And I remember they were all different sizes now and everything, and it was just like, oh, the kids,
They grew up quick as well, don't they? It'd only be like literally, like, by the time the film's coming out, you're like, oh, wait there, you're like twice the size. What happened there? Like, yeah, crazy, mate. Yeah, I bet. Like,
I just remember that was another like moment when you see it like that, and you see it with the families and everything, and everyone watches the movie, and it's like, oh, that was these. Now, at the time of the premiere was actually when. What was this? Now, in between Assassinaut, Kelly and I mean, now this is when Kelly's and I's relationship expanded, because like I got now Assassinaut ended technically, and I'm in LA. I'm in New York. I'm in New York at this time, and I get off work and I go pick up pet food. As I'm leaving to pick up pet food, my butt called Kelly on Facebook. So, like, I put my phone in my pocket, it dials Kelly, and my phone's ringing. I'm like, oh, and she popped up on the screen, and she wasn't doing anything at that moment, and I just got off work, so we ended up, like, talking for, like, 8 hours.
Wow, really?
It was one of those, like, I'll put down the phone, come back, and then keep talking and everything. And then from there, it was like everything just kind of like accentuated and blossomed, and it was just like every conversation was a little bit more and more. And then she came out for Thanksgiving, and then and then Christmas, and it was just one of those things where it was like it just got more, and it was just like, you should come live with me. And I was like, yes, I should, because it was like, and then and then one day it was like we should just get married. It wasn't even like a debate. It was like we should get married. And it all worked out because like when we got married, my buddy Zach was in town in L.A. Her best friend was in L.A. So we got together, and I remember it was just like, like, okay, we're just gonna get married. And I told a few people, and then she told a few people, like of her close people, and they came. And then my little circle in L.A., they came. So we had like this little room got filled up, And I remember being there with Zach, and Zach was just like, "Oh wow," and it was just, now because we kind of put together last minute, I wasn't expecting to like. I just had like my nice suit on, and then there comes Kelly coming around the corner, and she's wearing a wedding gown. She had found a wedding gown.
Wow, fair play to her. And
I was just like, "Buh." I was like, wow. To the point when I had to speak, I was just a mumbling, I think I was saying, what's that song? Hold on. It used to be Jefferson Airplane, but they've had like 3 different versions of themselves. There used to be like Jefferson Airplane, Jefferson Starship. At this time, they're just Starship.
Oh, so, what the hell?
So the band is just called Starship at this time, and it was actually in the Mannequin soundtrack.
Okay, yeah.
This world I found is too good to be true. Standing here beside you, want so much to give you. This love in my heart. I was trying to sing this. Say this, say this, and like was just kind of like losing my mind trying to because when I saw her, I lost my mind. I was like,
fair play.
That's why they're always like, write your vows. Don't try to memorize, because the emotion will catch you.
You will stumble. You will stumble.
Well, because usually I'm good at talking off the cuff, so I was like, I got this. I know what I'm gonna say. And then then I saw her, and I was like,
wow. That's beautiful.
So I was like, well, and I mean, it's I remember my dad wanted to fly out, my brother wanted to fly out, but we did it like so last minute. It was just like we just wanted to get married, and I remember I got the blessing from my mom. She was like, "Just get married, mijo. Just get married." And it's like, it's okay.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful, man. Fair play.
So I think she was just happy that I found someone who wanted to marry me. I don't know.
Yeah. She's like, so someone took me like, yeah. But,
well, I've always been the child that she was like a little bit worried about, like how's it gonna turn out for Vito?
Oh, right.
Because everything I've done has always been like off the path. There's been no beaten path. I've always kind of like somehow I graduated college, somehow I graduated high school. It's like one of those like how did I get out? I don't know
how did it happen? I relate to you fully on that though, mate. I relate to you fully on that, mate. Like like how I'm not in prison or still alive is a miracle. That's all I'm gonna say, mate. At my age, like. I was talking with my buddy Mike. I was like, I have no idea how I have made it this far. Yeah.
With the like it's funny. I'm not like a reckless person when it comes to like I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't go party hardy.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like the certain moments, I will throw caution to the wind.
Yeah.
Like I've met people that are like I would never do that. Never do that, man. Oh, I'm like it's but it's like but they're out there. I'll just throw caution to the wind. So it's like.
I'll hang off cliffs with harnesses. It's not as stable as the other people. I don't mind doing that. Like, what I mean? They're just like, no man, not for me, man. Keep me 20 meters away from there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's well, I mean, like it's like when you ask me about doing science team again, or like doing this, now that I have Kelly, and I have Eric, it's a little, you know, it's a little different mindset. You know, it's like, you know, like
Yeah,
I'm more caution to the wind, more like precaution has to be taken. You know, so.
Yeah.
And I remember
Gotta be,
when
mate,
the
innit?
premiere.
Gotta be.
I remember the premiere for Assassinaut. I just found out that Barrick Kelly's pregnant.
You just found out?
Yeah, when at the premiere.
Time. That was at the time, was it?
Yeah.
At the premiere. What? That's amazing.
The premiere. And I remember Badan, the executive producer. I told him, who you know, rest in peace. He just passed away recently. He like, I remember he was like doing announcements like, and Vito was like, and he's got a kid on the way, and I was like, I took the mic, I like,
oh shit,
I wasn't telling everyone, but hey, I got a kid on the way.
Oh wow, man, that's amazing. I never knew that though. Like, that's amazing, bro.
Yeah, at the premieres, I guess when, like, you know, I mean, at the premiere we just found out a little bit before that you know we were gonna have Barrick, so.
Oh, that's amazing. Fair play.
I mean, it's a continuing working relationship between me and Drew, you know? Like, I mean, man, like I said, I still go work with him, you know?
Yeah. Well, I hope, like, Drew, if you're watching this, mate, make another project, get you involved, you know, with the score, you know what I mean? Science Team 2, you know what I mean? Just a little hint out there.
Yeah. Well, no, because
So
like my working relationship with him is still, like, you know, it's a little cerebral from times. It's a little bit more in your face, but I mean, like, we, you know, I feel like me and Drew work very well together, and I was like, you know.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, I would go back. I mean, maybe not to the edge of a waterfall, but I'd definitely go back.
Yeah. You know, at least get a better harness if you're thinking about it. At least, like, you know what I mean. That's the least you can ask for, isn't it?
Well, I did have this idea of, like, me dangling by my balls, being like, "Hey, help me! Hey!" But,
I hope you got stretchy ones, mate. The elasticated ball man. Fucking that'll be the next movie by Drew, like, is it?
Yes.
Vito, thank you so much for joining for part 4. We'll make sure part 5 will be the last, because, like, I think I'll cover all of your works up until date. But all I can say then is get on some more movies so we can do a part 6, get some more Duddle Spuds on the go. 2024, 2025, let's get like what are they called? A petition in here. Let's get Vito in every single film possible. Let's do it. Let's do it, mate. Was there anything that you would like to say to anyone watching now before we go? Until we do part 5, my friend?
Just thank you for listening. That's all. I'm a little out of it right now.
Yeah, I was going to say, because we did go on quite a while about that, but honestly, Vito, thank you. Appreciate that, my friend. So until part 5, you'll get back on it. But again, thanks for watching. Like, comment, leave a comment as well. You know, Vito does check them out. So anything you want to say, any questions, chuck them in the comments. So until next time, Vito, you're an absolute legend. Can't thank you enough. Honestly, thank you, my friend.
Thank you, buddy.
Maniacal Mac.